It is the Riot Podcast. Happy Match Monday edition. If you're still listening to this the day it was posted, Monday, March 28th, that means your donation can still be doubled at RadioU.com or 8772-RADIO-U, right?
It's worth just checking, no matter when you're listening to this, about donating to help our podcast, helping Radio U, which is what we're working on this week, for the next few days. And then our podcast will return to its nice, lengthy edition. Until then, we still have some best of favorite parts and then a few new topics to talk about today.
Well, yeah, today was very Oscars heavy, of course, obviously. We hit on, wait, should I not say that?
Oh, don't say it that way. Touched on, smacked, no.
Yeah.
None of it.
We talked about Will Smith and how he slapped Chris Rock and that whole incident that actually has everybody talking about the Oscars, maybe not for the best reasons. And then we also hit on, again,
Stop
why am I saying
Just
that?
stop with the hitting.
We also touched on a few of the other things that went down at the Oscars that maybe weren't quite as newsworthy compared to the Will Smith situation, but still worth talking about. It was a whole 4-hour show.
Jeez.
So there was a lot to talk about.
And it really is weird. I went back after we talked about it this morning, and I watched another clip from the audience perspective.
Yeah.
And at one point, it really does feel like a bit. It feels not real.
When I was watching it, I think probably most people were thinking this. You think this is just a joke. Mm-hmm. Will Smith is in on it. That was a fake hit on Chris Rock. And until all the cursing started happening and everything, and then you're kind of like, whoa,
but what if
what
it
actually
still
just
is
went?
Fake? I don't know.
If it is fake,
It's
Will Smith should
convincing.
get another Oscar for his performance giving his Oscar speech where he was breaking down crying.
It's just so
and Chris Rock should
awkward.
get one too because he played it up well too.
Well, feel free to text us at 877-2-RADIO-U with your Oscar or Will Smith thoughts. But that was really the big push of it. We do touch upon a scammer, a lady who had some multiple friends in relationships with her. And that's a story coming out of China that she has been caught after 6 months of scamming older gentlemen. They keep calling them elderly gentlemen, even though she herself is 40. So yeah, that was an interesting conversation because the internet is kind of taking a different look at this compared to maybe some of the swindler men that we have that are more popular.
Well, it's always just one of those things. You're mad about their actions, but at the same time, the amount of work they're putting in, the effort, you just have to... You have to give them credit. Actually, no. Under no circumstances you have to give people credit for doing the wrong thing.
I don't know. I had one boy who was a friend who we just didn't go any further because he just wasn't interested in putting in the work for a relationship. And you're like, dude, it's just one person. Imagine if there was 6 of us.
Oh, yeah. It's tough to juggle all of that, for sure.
It's a lot. So it is quite impressive what she was doing, but it's just still illegal and not right because of the money she was taking.
That's right. In some of our throwback segments, we talk about how I look like Kevin Smith, which that's just a great topic to bring back up again. Love it. Also, banned phrases, some of the things we're not supposed to say after 2021. And if I remember right, that one didn't go exactly according to plan. Do you remember?
I vaguely remember
something
it.
we
went awry.
We couldn't find the full list or something. I don't remember, but there's some good nuggets in there. So just keep listen to the whole podcast and enjoy.
All right. Thanks for listening. And of course, thank you guys so many listeners, especially over the weekend, giving who are podcast listeners. Mm-hmm. If you are and you have a chance to donate to help out the show at RadioU.com, just put in the comment section, hi, I'm a podcast listener, and we just want to thank you for giving and helping out.
We'd love to recognize you in that way. So RadioU.com, get your donation in, and we will catch you next time.
Bye-bye.
The Riot isn't all bad, but this is the worst of the Riot. Radio U.
So are you familiar with Lake Superior State, the university in Michigan?
Maybe. Lake Superior, when you said that, I thought something else.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if I know this particular school.
The school is less important, but, I guess they're notable only because at the end, or I'm sure they wouldn't like me to not say only.
They don't like anything you're saying right now.
Yeah, right. They are notable primarily because at the end of every year, they put out a new list of banned phrases and words that you're not supposed to say.
Oh, for the new year.
Trendy things that we need to leave behind. And so they've done this since the 70s. And so now we have their list of stuff that you're not supposed to say as you start a new year in 2022.
Well, now you have more pressure for the first of the year. You didn't know that. You're supposed to diet, work out, and stop saying certain things.
Yeah, so here's what you need to stop saying, and we'll see if, Nikki, if you say any of these.
There's 10 words.
The top of the list is the phrase, wait, what?
Oh, that one?
Yeah.
No, I know quite a few people though that have that
They
in
need
their
to hear
arsenal.
this list.
They need to hear this list.
They need to listen to Lake Superior State University.
They do. They overuse that.
Yeah. Let's see what else wound up on the list. In the past, I have what's on the list in the past, and there are things that I don't even remember. So I guess it's the list is doing a good job. New normal was on the list. That actually was number 8. Why did they not just have the list in the story from 1 to 10?
You don't want to do that.
No, that would be too easy. That'd be too much easy
They say
work.
that because we've been doing this now for a few years, the new normal is the normal, and you can't keep saying new normal.
Yeah, that one I can totally get behind. I don't know. I'm with people with Lake Superior State on that. Here's one. You're on mute.
Oh, yeah, for all those Zoom calls and stuff.
Yeah, that's right. You know, see, that shows how little Zoom calls I did. Because I was thinking like Twitch. Like you've been muted on Twitch or something like that.
No, that's totally a Zoom call. That's a meeting thing.
Supply chain
that one's
is
still
on there.
Hey, I know we don't want to say that one, but that one's still very relevant.
Oh, I'm tired of it, though.
Well, of course you are.
Can't we just come up with another phrase for it?
Well, can't we also have our stuff? That's in boats still that we can't because there's a supply chain problem?
I guess we can.
So that one I feel like you might still hear.
Now, where's the middle of the list? Where's the middle of the list? That's what I want to know. We went from 1 to 8 and then 9 and 10, and I don't have the rest of the list in this story.
It's going to bother you.
It is going to bother me.
You're going to have to look
I'm
it
going to be
up.
saying the other 7 things I'm not supposed to say.
All right. I am trying to look. It doesn't even look like it's linked in the article.
I know. This is, I don't want to, it's a local news place. And this is why you're not on the bigger news network. This is because you're not giving us the full list here.
Yeah, that's it.
And this is why we're not on a bigger network either.
That we can't because we didn't look him up ahead of time.
That's right.
Well, just realize this. Wait, what is like the main one.
Yeah,
so
you don't want to
if you
say
know someone who says that, that's the top of the banished word list. That is the one to focus on.
You have any you want to add in?
No, I think the wait what is good.
That's good. That in supply chain, that's good enough for you.
Looks like the second one was no worries. So they say
people say that?
They say that that's dismissive.
Yeah.
And you're not supposed to.
You might be thinking that this won't be quite as bad the second time around. Well, you'd be greatly mistaken. You're listening to the worst of the Riot podcast.
How much of the Oscars did we all watch last night? Anybody watch from beginning to end?
I think a lot of people said maybe 0 until something happened. Which you guys kept texting us during the night.
Yeah.
I was like, well, you guys can text anytime you want to, but we were not up to see all that.
No, well, I mean, I was awake. I just was looking at Twitter and not the RadioU text because I wasn't here. But last night, the real moment that everybody's talking about is when Will Smith went up on stage and slapped Chris Rock. Chris Rock, if you missed it, I guess it's understandable. It was late.
You're just, getting all the news.
Right. So Chris Rock made a joke about Will Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith.
A G.I. Jane 2
joke. The current movies that we're talking about, G.I. Jane from 25 years ago or something like that. So that is a joke that I didn't even realize when he said it. I was just like, oh, was she in the first one and it didn't do well or something?
No, it was her hair.
It was because of her hair. So I think a lot of people probably, it would have just gone right over their heads. Even Will Smith kind of seemed to laugh at it live in the moment, but Jada Pinkett Smith gave a look that she was not impressed. And so Will Smith seemed to take that as, okay, I'm going to go up and beat up Chris Rock. So he goes up on stage, smacks him in the face, and then they exchange some words. Will Smith says to keep his wife's name out of your mouth, with a few things added in there. And later, I mean, that was pretty much the end of it. It was amazing. From that moment, until Will Smith goes up, because he later won an award later in the evening for Best Actor. Until in that space between him doing the slap and him winning the award, it was just like the show just went on.
I don't think they knew what to do.
Yeah, it was so, they were just so sticking to the script the entire time. And even then Will Smith goes up, gives his incredibly awkward speech. He's in tears. He's crying. He says he's not crying because he won the award. He's crying because, well.
Emotions were high.
Right. So, and now everybody just is making fun of Will Smith because obviously it was not. I'm curious to see your thoughts, Nikki. But for me, I was thinking it's tough in the heat of the moment.
Sure.
But you're just sitting there. It was a joke that even Will Smith laughed at. And once you realize that your wife's not amused, you could just kind of, like, what? You seriously going to punch the guy? You could have just sat there. And honestly, today, what people will be talking about is, wow, that Chris Rock joke was pretty insensitive. But instead, he goes up there and assaults Chris Rock as if that proved anything. Now you're just the one looking like a clown.
Well, it's just weird. And Will Smith has, I don't know to anybody else, come off maybe a weird year.
Yeah, a weird 20 years. It's been a while.
It's very odd, but they say that those two have had a feud for a while because of other jokes. But it seemed when I saw it, at first everybody kind of thought it was a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Because you even see Chris Rock lean in, like he knows he's going to get hit.
Yeah, but it was amazing.
Waiting for it.
It was amazing how well he took the hit.
Yeah.
And then
he
after you
make
get
a bigger deal out of it.
Yeah, after you get through the where it was the censors were bleeping stuff out because it was on delay or whatever. And once you got through to just Chris Rock just goes on, it was amazing how well even he took the whole thing. It was just so that's I think what led people to think, wow, was this all a setup? Is this a part of a joke? Once you see the uncensored footage and stuff, it is not a joke.
It's not. And so the thing for today everybody's going to be talking about is, does Will Smith deserve to keep his Oscar? Why can one fight someone or hit someone and not get in trouble, but then someone else goes and hits? Like, it's just the question of does anything actually come out of that?
Right. And at the moment, we know that Chris Rock has
declined.
He's not going to press charges or anything, not file the police report, although he still has the option to, but doesn't look like he is. So Will Smith is going to get off at least criminally, it seems. But will his career? Yeah, will his career rebound? This could have been his moment, King Richard, to kind of get his name back in good graces, even though it wasn't necessarily a box office success. But then he does this, and now he's probably even in a worse spot than before.
And does anybody else feel like a slap in a real, like an actual one, doesn't look as bad as like in movies?
Yeah.
Because when I saw him slap him, I was like, well, were we trying
as
hard?
Maybe Will Smith just isn't as strong as we all think.
I don't know.
It's the worst of the riot on RadioU.
So yesterday, I had something happen to me that I don't think it's ever happened to me before.
What happened?
That is, I got told I look like a celebrity.
You did?
And it wasn't. The
By
problem
a
is
staff member here?
No. And it wasn't, hey, you look like that great local radio morning show host. That's not what it was.
You weren't like, you look like Hudson.
Yeah, that was not the case.
Well, who do they think you look like?
I was at the mechanic. And the mechanic and his tech and everything, the whole office of mechanics was remarking how much I looked like Kevin Smith.
Oh,
yeah, Kevin.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's
well,
nothing
then why
wrong.
did you go?
We're just saying that. We're just saying that. It's because you wear a hat, I think.
Is it the hat? See, I was telling them about it. I'm taking it all in good stride. There's better celebrities to look like. But I guess there's also worse.
Well, what is Kevin Smith like? You would know him if you even don't think you know him.
Yeah.
But it's because he wears a hat and usually a jersey.
A hockey jersey.
And so were you wearing a hockey jersey yesterday?
No, I was not. You saw me yesterday. Was I wearing a hockey jersey?
I couldn't remember.
Did I look anything particularly like Kevin Smith to you yesterday?
He's lost a lot of weight, so I think you guys do look more like now that he's lost more weight.
Yeah, I don't know what his hair situation is like.
You can't tell. It's always with a hat.
It's always that's right. But
it does go past his shoulders.
I guess the facial hair. I think mine's probably a little longer than his, but I can see that. But that's what I was telling talking to these guys is you should see me with a hockey jersey on.
You really
and my
look
hat
like
turned
him?
backwards. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
You can't
But,
dress like that if you don't want to be compared to him.
Yeah, that's you're 100% right about that. But I had made that connection when I've been wearing a hockey jersey.
Sure.
I've never thought just day to day the way I normally dress that I look like Kevin Smith.
Well, if
but I
you're-
look so much like Kevin Smith that all the mechanics had to let me know about it.
I'm not sure if this leads to like a style change or
Yeah.
what, because I was looking up. He's 51 years old.
Yeah,
So
right.
you
I'm not
should
nearly
check-
that.
you
Nowhere
should-
near that.
You should check with the mechanic. You're like, am I a young Kevin Smith?
Yeah,
Or
right.
what are we doing? If not, you're shaving.
Well, he hasn't been very popular for a while, right? So maybe they're thinking of the young version of Kevin Smith,
I'm
right?
sure.
Right?
Don't worry about it, Hudson. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm going to start. I need to change my look. I need to just find any other celebrity.
Well, no hockey jerseys, and you got to stop wearing your hat.
Yeah, I can't cut the. Lots of people wear hats.
Well, it's just your look, though. You
Yeah.
look like him when you do.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to change something. Well, we'll work on that.
Worst of the Riot podcast.
Now, something I think where we've achieved equality among men and women, internet scamming.
Oh, it's for everybody, right?
At least it seems that way in this story. If you thought only men were capable of Tinder swindling, you're 100% wrong. Because
Yeah, but I mean, she's not getting a Netflix special on it.
No.
So it really depends on where this goes.
That's right. They should give her a special for equality as well. This is a woman in China named Mao. She's 42 years old. And she, over the course of at least 6 months, although honestly, do we really think it was only 6 months? But for at least 6 months.
Maybe with these guys.
Yeah, right. Last year, she was dating 6 different men at the same time. And in the process of dating all of them, asking for money, gifts like smartphones and stuff like that, where she somehow, some people are saying it's actually impressive, much like my wife said about the Tinder swindler. How can you even be mad? It's just impressive. She was able to juggle 6 men at the same time, and it took so long for any of them to become wise to the situation.
It seems like the internet is actually not as far as like praising her, but just like, wow, what's your
secret?
What's your secret?
Yeah, right. How are you so organized?
Doing all this.
Compartmentalized.
Pretty much. And they keep pointing out it's 6 middle-aged men. They keep mentioning that in the story. They want to make sure you know these are older men.
Yeah, that maybe they were a little more susceptible at their spot in life to going along with just the opportunity that presented itself, which they thought was dating this attractive woman, but it really was just a way for her to get a bunch of money and gifts out of it.
So she'd pose as a divorcee with no kids, and she would be on sites. So then these
just
guys,
looking for a stable relationship, she would say.
Exactly. And so these guys would, they would start to be boyfriend and girlfriend. But what they weren't aware of is there was like 5 other guys too.
Right. And it looks like she didn't want a stable relationship. She wanted a stable of relationships that she could use to her advantage.
It's a stable. It's a horse.
Can I just say, I feel that I'm surprised it doesn't happen more with women. Because I think
mean women aren't more scamming a bunch of guys?
They aren't doing more scams, yeah. Because
they are, you just don't see it.
I guess not. They're only doing 1 at a time, so it's not newsworthy instead of 6. Or, it's just they do one dinner that's it blurs the line of did you really want to go on a date or did you just want to get a free dinner out of it? And then you cut it off there so that nothing further happens.
Well, for her, she kind of got caught, they say, because with one of the individuals, it got to the point where she was committing and saying, let's get married. And he was wanting to get married. So the wedding dress, the venue, the decoration, she would keep finding excuses to delay the wedding. And then he started to do some sort of digging in on her online, especially. And that's when they found out that she was a romantic scammer, which is kind of the term for it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that it didn't go on, it looks like, too long, because you see some of these stories that come out, and usually it's the flip side, like the more Tinder swindler, the guy side of things, where they will lead things on for who knows how long. Or you watch Catfish, and there's episodes of people, where it's years and years at a time, and you don't even see the person, but you're sending them money and stuff like that. At least this guy was able to figure things out before it got too ridiculously out of hand.
The 6 men, they say, were cheated out of about $24,000 during these 6 months.
Wow. Well, hopefully this is the end of that.
Riot Podcast, RadioU.
Nikki, it's time for you to answer for your Apple addiction.
Do I have one? No.
You're an official spokesperson for Apple, as far as I'm concerned.
I'm not, but if I am brand loyal, then it would probably be to them.
That's for sure. So it's time for you to explain the new Apple ad. Have you seen it? Did they run it past you before they started?
Oh, no, they don't even bother doing ads with me because they just know that I'm good.
Yeah, you already know about. So have you seen? So you haven't seen the new Apple Watch ad?
I have not. I'm looking in the article.
Yeah, it is.
Is it a 911 one?
It is.
No.
They use 3 different 911 calls that were placed on Apple Watches. And they actually used the audio from the calls where, the good news is the people were all rescued. One is a farmer who fell down a well and broke his leg. One is somebody who was blown out to sea.
Oh, gosh.
And then another is a woman trapped in her car, which is flipped upside down and filled with water.
Well, then you have to have an Apple Watch.
Yeah,
guys.
that's exactly the argument. It's like, if you don't have the Apple Watch, you might die.
Well, they could have gone with a more lighter approach to the ad. I had not seen this one before.
It's pretty intense. I think it might be new because it definitely, I learned this when I was in broadcasting school because I learned a lot about advertising. Advertising is supposed to get your attention, and it definitely gets your attention.
So this is for the new Series 7 watch.
Uh-huh.
You want me to be honest with you?
Yeah. What, do you already have it? Or?
So yesterday, Eric went out to go get something, and he got me the Series 7 watch yesterday. It was on sale.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure it was.
It's my safety. Man, I hate that this happened.
You wouldn't want to wind up in a well without an Apple Watch, would you?
Do you want me blown out to sea?
No, I do not. Well, it's not going to stop you from being blown out to sea. It's just going to stop you from dying when you're blown out to sea, potentially.
Actually, it's bad. I didn't buy the cellular one, so I'll still go for it.
You're still gonna wind up with your leg broken in a well. No way. It's not like you have a phone or anything to call.
I'm gonna need to be saved some other way. But oh man, that really makes me seem like an Apple fangirl.
But yeah, you hadn't even seen the ad though.
I hadn't even seen the ad.
You think maybe the ad would have given you pause if you watched it?
No, I am so okay. I think the Series 2 one was my last Apple Watch.
Oh yeah, so it's been a while.
It's been a while, and it wasn't working as well.
Oh yeah,
so it really wouldn't have saved me.
That one wouldn't have helped.
And for this, the redesign of it is so nice.
It is.
It's super nice.
Yeah,
I'm so
after one
excited
day.
I got it.
Yeah.
I am. So if you need to save me, then my watch is there.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're going to be safe.
Yeah.
Actually, you could interpret this commercial in a different way. You could see it as, if you buy the Apple Watch, bad things might happen. I mean, you'll be rescued, but 3 out of 3 people in this commercial had life-threatening experiences.
No, but see, you have to
remember,
remember,
have one common thing in common.
Apple Watches can get so expensive that now I have to stay at home because there's no more money to go do anything.
Yeah.
So I'm not going on a boat.
There's no
going
chance.
Out.
Yeah, right.
I don't live on a farm. I think I'm okay.
The Riot Podcast, RadioU.
Last night was the Oscars. We've talked a bit about Will Smith slapping, I should say, Chris Rock, and
which will be all that you hear about today.
That's
guys.
right. That's right. A quick recap of our thoughts. Basically, wasn't a great joke, but you can't go around slapping everybody who makes a bad joke, especially at the Oscars, because it would just turn into a lot more like WrestleMania and a lot less like an award show.
Well, even us, we sometimes throw out some bad jokes too. I know
slapping, we don't want to get slapped.
That is the big talk for today.
So, but the question was raised, if it wasn't for Will Smith slapping Chris Rock, what would people be talking about in regards to the Oscars today? And I watched the entire thing from the beginning to end, so I think I'm well qualified to answer that question.
What's the answer?
You know what? I think it would kind of just be like, oh, it's just a pretty normal Oscars. Like nothing. The news might be that it wasn't all that newsworthy. It may be that the Best Picture winner, Coda, was kind of not what maybe some people would have chosen or expected. It's not, I haven't personally seen it, but what I've heard is it's not the worst movie, but a lot of people don't think it's the greatest, and it's very overly saccharine.
Sure.
Just really too sweet, which the Oscars don't usually reward, kind of hallmarky. With cursing in sign language. So that was an interesting choice, but that was very much overshadowed by the Will Smith thing. So I feel like people didn't have a time to be upset about that. The other thing, probably what would be talked about the most, remember how the Oscars was giving out the fan awards? Where, like the fan favorite movie thing where people were voting on Twitter.
So that was back earlier this year. A lot of people sometimes get mad with the Oscars because the biggest movies of the year never get recognized except for like costume or audio.
Right.
Like those second and third sort of
technical
categories. So those are the big, huge movies that we all enjoy. And instead, the ones that win are the ones that hardly go into theaters, don't make a lot.
They're not as much box office successes as they are critically acclaimed. Well, so the Oscars did 2 fan favorite categories where nobody presented it. It was just like a little video highlight deal. So they did one that was the top 5 cheer-worthy movie moments. And that looked like of all time or of the last decade. I don't know what the time frame was. And then they did one that was just the top 5 favorite movies, fan favorite movies of the last year.
And that people were tweeting during a window of time.
So it was your chance to actually vote on an Oscar category.
And that's the one they were trying to make just, really non-big movies win. So it was between, was it like the Cinderella Amazon Studios movie? And there was one other one that they were trying to go back and forth to try to make these non-popular, embarrassing kind of movies win.
For the fan favorite movies of 2021, number 2 was Cinderella, Amazon Cinderella. Number 3 was the Johnny Depp movie. I think it's called Minimata or something. I don't even know because I hadn't heard of it except for this. But number 1 was Army of the Dead.
Yeah.
You know that one? Do you know that movie?
Was that the Netflix one?
That was Netflix. And see if you can catch the theming, because the winner of the top 5 favorite cheer-worthy moments, Spider-Man, where the 3 Spider-Men joined forces in No Way Home, spoiler alert, that was up there. The Avengers Endgame thing where all the heroes are together is another. But neither of those was number 1. Number 1 was in Zack Snyder's Justice League cut when the Flash enters the Speed Force.
Really?
That was number 1. Do you see the connection between that and Army of the Dead?
I don't.
They're both Zack Snyder thing.
Oh, they
so
are?
Basically the Zack Snyder hive or whatever the fan base is.
The snackers?
Yeah, they just took over the voting.
How funny.
So yeah, everybody's like, oh yeah, the Speed Force. Everybody was cheering when we all saw that, of course.
Well, that's why whenever you do something, you cannot... If it's not normally a fan-voted competition, you can't
involve
up.
the fans.
No. Well, that's funny. I didn't catch between the two.
Yeah, that was... so Zack Snyder, I guess, won big last night. And the other thing was the hosts. This was the first time they had a host in a few years. It might have been a mistake.
It's just not good.
It was just mostly cringy, or they made the most obvious jokes that you've heard. You could tell what the punchline was a million miles before they ever got near it. So I think... maybe we can just do without that. It wasn't so bad without host, right?
Well, we would have missed out on the Will Smith thing.
Yeah, right. No, it was still definitely a fun Oscars. But I don't know. It had its low points for sure.
There are some people that shouldn't have their own podcast. And by some people, we mean these people. RadioU's Worst of the Riot podcast.
It is the time of year for New Year's resolutions, of course. Now, for Nikki and Isaiah and I, our resolutions all seem to revolve around our eating habits. But for many others...
Don't tell everybody.
Yeah.
Well, you listen to the show, you can tell that we have some eating issues that we need to work through.
Hey, that's a bold statement.
Yeah.
Hang on.
I would say we have a pretty happy eating life, you know?
That's the problem. We get too happy when we eat. We need to.
I think there's just so many opportunities, you know?
Oh, good call. You really put a negative spin on it, Hudson.
Yeah.
I don't think we should do negative stuff with food.
If we're making a change and we're trying to make a positive change, that means we must have been doing something negative before.
No, you feel like you have to find something. So
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
You gotta go
Fair
with
enough.
something, like,
Well,
obviously.
For a lot of people, not us, it involves your New Year's resolution involves going back to the gym or going to the gym for the first time. And so that's why I've invited specifically Isaiah in as the only person here who has stepped foot in a gym, I'd say, anytime recently.
Are you still working out?
Yep, I still go every day, every single day.
So then you should be able to tell us and anybody else who might be new to the gym some gym etiquette tips.
See, I think that right now, if you've been going to the gym, this is the worst time to go
Yes,
to the gym.
So I've heard.
Because in January, like obviously everybody's New Year's resolution, a lot of them is to go back to the gym. So now the gym is like more packed than ever, like 10 times more packed than it ever is. Like usually if I go anytime other than 5 o'clock p.m., I'm good. Like there's not going to be a lot of people there. But yesterday I went like 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. and it is just packed pretty much 24/7 right now. But a lot of people that like are new to going to the gym, the main things that I would say is like two things. The only things that you really have to worry about when you're in the gym, number one, nobody's looking at you. Nobody cares what you're doing. So if you're going to the gym for the first time and you're like, oh my gosh, people know that I'm new here. Everybody's new at the gym right now and nobody's paying attention to you. Everybody that goes there every day is just focusing on themselves so you don't have to feel like self-conscious at the gym.
So pause. So that means that your gym etiquette doesn't matter. You can just leave stuff, not wipe it down, just do whatever, hog a machine. You can do whatever you want. Nobody's paying attention.
I wouldn't say that. But if you feel like you look dumb, no one's probably noticed that you're doing anything wrong or that you've been standing around trying to figure out what you're trying to do for more than anybody else is.
I feel like it's if you ever go on vacation, like have you ever gone and you're like, I don't want to look like a tourist.
Yeah,
I wanna look like
exactly.
I live here. So for gym etiquette and for if you're, now going back, a lot of people feel like you really want to look like you've been there the whole time.
Yeah.
And you're not new to gym. You're not
Yeah.
on vacation there.
Yeah. And then the only other thing I would say is just like personal space. Just make sure you're giving everybody enough room.
Yeah.
Don't get too close to people. As long as you're not like in my personal space, then you're not going to bother me. Doesn't matter what you do in your area, as long as you're not inside of mine doing anything weird, then I'm going to be cool with you.
Well, that's
so.
not very supportive.
Yeah, you know what? I thought that was
Come
pretty good
on.
advice. Come on, just give me my space, and no one's paying attention to you as long as you're not in their space.
I kind of like Isaiah's rules actually because they're very simple. Where I have a list here, and this is from the CEO or COO of Lifetime. Like that's Lifetime Fitness, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And like he's got 7 rules
Ooh.
for gym etiquette. That's too much to remember. Isaiah's is just nobody cares what you're doing, so that means you can do whatever you want as long as you just leave everybody else alone.
Exactly.
Which that is a big rule. Don't talk to people at the gym.
No, don't talk to people.
But what does the other guy say? Is there anything else?
Well, of course, the number one rule is the golden rule. Just treat others
Like you wanna be
as you would
treated?
want to be treated. He also says don't. Not just about hogging one machine and just sticking on it, but like some people will get in a rotation where they're kind of moving between the same few machines, but not really letting other people work in between them when they're not using one particular machine, or if you're between sets or something, let other people get a set in while you take a breather or work on something else. He says, this one is odd to me. Don't talk on the phone, he says, in common areas. I don't feel like that's like he says it could disrupt other people's workouts.
No.
Most people have headphones anyways. What's the big deal?
It's annoying when it feels like someone has taken a meeting
Oh, yeah?
when they're supposed to be working out.
Especially loudly.
Yeah.
That one's weird.
Have you experienced that?
I think if you're like on the phone, especially like if you, mine is like if you're in the way. If you're like talking on the phone and you're sitting on a bench, or if you're like on a machine and you're sitting there talking, I'm like, dude, what are you doing right now? Like this place is packed anyway. And same thing like with the time thing, like don't waste other people's time.
He also says keep quiet areas like the locker room, sauna, and steam room relaxing.
So don't go take your call in there.
Yeah, definitely not. Don't take a call at the gym.
Don't
Just
do a
don't do
meeting.
it. He says wear appropriate attire, which it's funny that my mind initially goes to like, what does he care if I wear jeans? But, you know, like, that's not what he means.
No one cares if you wear jeans, Hudson. If you want to wear jeans, you can wear them.
I'm pretty sure people will care. I mean, they're not going to, like, call you out, but they're going to notice if you're wearing jeans.
Yeah, if you're wearing jeans. I do
believe.
Sometimes they don't want you to wear, like, streetwear.
Yeah. Don't be, don't be too revealing or anything like that. Don't create a polarizing environment. And this rule goes for everywhere right now. Stay home if you're sick.
There you go.
So those are your gym etiquette tips. If you're getting back in the gym, good for you.
Sounds like there's too much, though, which then sounds like we shouldn't be going.
Again, that's why I like Isaiah's.
Yeah, nobody's going to even notice.
Lifetime COO Jeff Zwintel has too many things to remember. Just go to the gym and be nice to everybody.
I feel pressure now.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Oh no! I missed it! Do it again!
You can hear us live every day on the RadioU network through the RadioU app or at riot.radiou.com.